educational decisions. A vision to position young people for global opportunities. What started as a bold idea has now become a trusted platform supporting students and families on their educational journeys across the world. Today, as we celebrate 10 years of Brains and Butter, we reflect on a decade of impact, transformation, and growth. Our journey has truly been a metamorphosis, from helping a handful of families navigate international education to building a thriving community of students, parents, educators, and global partners. And at the center of it all is one commitment: helping young people discover their path and reach their full potential. One of the core pillars of Brains and Butter has always been strategic school placement. We work closely with families to place students in some of the most respected British and American boarding schools. But placement for us is never just about admission. It is about fit. The right academic environment, the right pastoral support, the right opportunities for growth. Through our extensive network of partner schools, we guide families through every step, from school selection to application, interviews, and enrollment. Our goal is simple: to ensure every child is placed in a school where they will thrive academically, socially, and personally. Guardianship and personalized educational plans. For many families, sending a child abroad for school can feel like a big step. That is why care and continuity are at the heart of what we do. Through our guardianship services, we ensure students studying abroad always have trusted support and guidance. We stay connected with schools, monitor student welfare, and work closely with families to ensure each child's journey remains smooth and successful. Alongside this, we develop personalized educational plans for students, because every child is unique. Their strengths, ambitions, and pathways are different. Our role is to help families map out the best educational strategy for each student's long-term success. Sixth form pathways and university admissions. The transition from school to university is one of the most important stages in a student's life. At Brains and Butter, we support students through sixth form pathways and university admissions, helping them position themselves for competitive global universities. From course selection and university strategy to personal statement guidance and application preparation, we work closely with students to help them present their strongest possible profile. Our mission is not just to help students apply to universities. It is to help them secure places where their ambitions can flourish. Tutorials. Academic excellence requires the right support system. Through our tutorial services, we connect students with experienced tutors who provide targeted academic guidance. Whether students need support with subject mastery, exam preparation, or confidence building, our tutorial programs are designed to strengthen academic performance and deepen understanding. We believe that with the right guidance, every student can unlock their full academic potential. Profile creation. Today's most competitive schools and universities are looking for more than just grades. They are looking for well-rounded students. That is why Brains and Butter places strong emphasis on profile creation. We help students build meaningful portfolios of experiences, from leadership and extracurricular activities to competitions, community impact, and academic enrichment. The goal is to help students develop a compelling story of who they are and who they are becoming, because the strongest applications reflect not just achievement, but purpose and character. The next chapter. As we celebrate 10 years of Brains and Butter, we are grateful for every family, student, partner school, and community member who has been part of this journey. From our earliest days to where we stand today, the transformation has been remarkable. And yet this is only the beginning. The next decade holds even greater possibilities. More students empowered, more global opportunities unlocked, more futures shaped. This is the metamorphosis, and we are honored to continue walking this journey with you.
Brains and Butter turns 10 this year. Yes, 10 this March. Over the last decade, we've worked closely with families, schools, and education partners across the United Kingdom and beyond. To mark this milestone, we are hosting a 4-day anniversary celebration designed to reflect our journey, our impact, and the community that has grown with us. From an open symposium and gala and award night to private moments of connection with our team, partners, and community. Each moment has been carefully curated to honor the last 10 years and set the tone for the future. We are opening the symposium and gala to parents, schools, and education partners who believe in shaping meaningful education pathways and celebrating excellence in education. A decade in, and we are just getting started.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day, and it's especially a special day because we are celebrating the 10th year anniversary of Brains and Butter. It's been 10 years of amazing and an excellent service. First of all, I want to say big congratulations to the Brains and Butter team for this 10 years, for this journey of 10 years, 10 amazing years. We want to welcome all those who are on the call this morning. If there's anyone who is supposed to be here and is not here, please put a call through to them and tell them we're about to start this amazing webinar, which serves as the opening event of the 7-month-long 10 years anniversary celebration of Brains and Butter. Yes, it's been 10 years of dedication, 10 years of resilience, 10 years of serving families, 10 years of helping students discover purpose, 10 years of intentionality. And when I say intentionality, I mean paying attention to every detail that involves every child as it concerns getting a tailor-made school that suits their personality and suits their purpose. It's been 10 years of careful guidance, 10 years of building excellence. Congratulations, Brains and Butter. And today we're going to be having a fireside chat. Panel session where we're going to be discussing very interesting topic. This has been themed Reimagined Global Minds, unlocking opportunities in international education. And to discuss this topic, we have seasoned leaders in education, in the education space, and leadership coach on ground to discuss this topic with us. So it promises to be a very educative session. It promises to be very insightful. You're definitely not going to leave this webinar the same, because you're going to leave with better clarity. You're going to leave being even more reassured that you're on the right path as it concerns getting your children in that global space and positioning them well for that opportunity in future. So without wasting much of our time, without much ado, I'd like to introduce our amazing guests. But before I introduce our amazing guest, there is one person I would like to introduce. I know some of you know her already, but for some of us who have not known her, or some of us who have not met her, permit me to introduce to you the visionary, the pathfinder, the founder of Brains and Butter. She is an award-winning educational consultant, economist, and thought leader in the British and Nigerian education spaces. She is the founder and lead consultant at Brains and Butter, a Biscop consultancy placing African children in top-fit British boarding schools. A proud alumna of Queen's College, Lagos, and Oxbridge Tutorial College, she earned a BSc in Economics from the University of Hull at 19, winning the CIMA Prize for Academic Excellence, followed by an MSc from the University of Nottingham and a PhD in Development Studies from the University of Sussex. Ranked number 1 globally for the discipline in 2017. She is recognized as one of the top 50 Black future leaders in the UK. She has lectured at the University of Sussex and University of Brighton, and founded Brains and Banter, an intellectual platform for African diaspora dialogue, as well as Brains and Buttercups, a summer school focused on African identity for children. She currently serves as Director of Education at Ulster Schools and President of the Queen's College Lagos Class of 1999, leading a network of over 500 women. Known for her work at the intersection of education, economic development, and community transformation, she is also a sought-after speaker. She is married with 3 children and is deeply grounded in faith, family, and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, with all the emojis you can click on, let us make welcome the founder of Brains and Butter, Dr. Alo Ohio-Omonkhomion.
Wow.
Use all the emojis you can find, clapping, celebration, all the emojis. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Da Silva. Thank you to everyone on the call, our panelists. I mean, just listening to the profile, I'm like, is that me? Profiles have a way of making you, feel so good about yourself. Thank you so much for capturing all of that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Da Silva.
We're glad to have you here. Now, after a decade of guiding Nigerian families at home and abroad into top boarding schools in the United Kingdom, we're opening up an interesting conversation that speaks to the other direction from the UK to Nigeria, while still honoring the nearly 70 years old direction of Nigerians going to the United Kingdoms to study. Discussing our topic with us today, we have 3 amazing panelists. And introducing them, the first person I'd like to call up on the panel is John Todd. John Todd brings extensive experience in school leadership to his role as Director of Education at Charterhouse, Lagos. Born and educated in the UK, he studied natural sciences at University College, Durham, and holds a master's in education from the UK Open University, a master's in organizational leadership, and an MBA from the US. He began his career as a primary school teacher in the UK before moving into international education. His career has taken him across Singapore, Kenya, Nigeria, Qatar, and most recently, China. John is a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, Manufacturers and Commerce, and a fellow of the Chartered College of Teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome John Todd, the Director of Education, Charterhouse, Lagos. Mr. John Todd, can you just say hello to us?
Hello, good morning. Greetings
Good
from
morning.
Lagos. Castle. Ekaro.
Ekaro. So nice to have you here. It's a privilege. Okay, so the next person I'd like to bring up also on the panel, we have Mrs. Tolulope Gbadamosi. Tolusho Gbadamosi, pardon me. Folusho Gbadamosi is a transformation-driven leader who uses technology and education to drive growth, impact, and empowerment across sectors, including telecommunications, FMCG, fintech, development, and oil and gas. As Vice President of Development and Junior Achievement Africa, she leads strategic partnerships, resource mobilization, and large-scale initiatives such as the 10 Million African Girls campaign, focused on equipping young girls with education, entrepreneurship, and leadership skills. She is also a co-founder and trustee of Serving with Love Foundation, a certified strength coach, author, and facilitator dedicated to helping individuals reach their full potential. Felicia serves on several boards across finance, technology, and development, contributing to organizational growth and innovation.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the lovely intro.
Good morning. Okay, so moving on, I'd like to bring up the next person, and he is Mr. William Law. Mr. William joined Caterham School in September 2025 as Deputy Head Academic, a graduate of Oxford University. He began his career teaching modern languages at an international school in Switzerland before returning to the UK as head of modern languages and latterly housemaster of a sixth form boarding house at Tunbridge School. He has a particular interest in teaching, training, educational research, and partnerships, and is a former senior examiner for a UK exam board. At Caterham School, he is responsible for learning and teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome William Law, Deputy Head Academics, Caterham School.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really looking forward to taking part in this discussion, and happy 10th birthday to Brains and Butter.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, we have so much to discuss today and so little time. So, we're just going to get right into it right about now. We have all our panelists now. We also have Dr. Alo, yes, giving us moral support where she is, okay? All right, so whenever we need her, I'm sure she'll be very glad to put a word or two into the discussion. Okay, so I'd like to start with you, Madam Folusha. So when we say, sorry, just a minute, please. When we talk about global opportunity, what does it look like? When we say global mindset in today's interconnected world, what does it mean?
All right. So thank you again for having me, Brains and Butter. Congratulations. I am very excited to be having this discussion with proper educationists on this platform. And I would love, to share my perspective and to hear that as well. So from my perspective, I mean, I'm not a teacher. I don't run a school or anything like that, but I do work with a lot of young people and I'm a mother. I believe that a global mindset is not just about studying abroad or traveling. I think it's really about raising children who are confident to thrive in the world that we live in today. You cannot raise children that have a global mindset if you don't have a global mindset, right? Our children have to be built to compete anywhere in the world. Because of the disruptions with technology, there's so many, changes that keep happening by the second, and it would only get more. So for me, a global mindset goes above what many of us, are used to doing, maybe the things that even happened when we were younger. The world has changed drastically and continues to change. So there's questions that we need to ask ourselves that are more than grades. African parents, we love those A's, we love those grades, but a global mindset is way more than grades. For me, it is really asking yourself the effects of technology on education, even the future of work. There's many careers that do not exist now that will exist in the future. How do the children that we're bringing up now, adapt to that world that we don't even know yet, that doesn't even exist yet? When I was in university several years ago, there were some careers that did not exist. And right now they are thriving and booming careers, right? So as parents, as older people that are involved in the lives of the young people that we're trying to equip for the future, we really have to think beyond grades. We have to think about the fact that technology is doing a lot of changes and also helping our children really discover who they are. There are unique strengths that every single child has that machines cannot replace. There's many things that machines will replace, but there's also many things that machines cannot replace, at least for now. I don't know about, several years from now. So for me, it's really about raising young people who are able to stand out in the world because it's beyond their grades. It's about their talents, their gifts, their strengths, and the fact that not just the parents, but even the schools are helping them really develop those talents into strengths. Thank you.
Yes, raising young people who are able to stand out, thinking beyond grades. Thank you. Okay, Mr. John Todd, when we speak about opportunities in international education, what does it truly encompass? Considering the fact that Charterhouse is now in Lagos, when you talk about international opportunities, does it have to do with location? Does it have to do with access? Does it have to do with exposure, network? What exactly does it encompass?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought and very much what Felucio has said. I think I very much agree with. And I'm a parent of 3 third culture kids, all born overseas, 2 of them born in Acadia many years ago. And my oldest first actually lived in the UK when she started university. And so that idea of being able to adapt, being able to think differently and confidently, the sense that these children can go up to someone in an airport queue and they don't even need to speak the same language, but can somehow communicate. And as a proper Brit, of course, I have to look the other way. I wouldn't dare speak to somebody else like that. But my children, wow, they have a level of confidence that that's not an issue to them. And so absolutely, it's not about place, it's about ways of thinking. It's about stepping out beyond the national education system. And I think the challenge for many families in Nigeria is the education system is still sadly bound by something we left, and we've moved on multiple iterations, but still very much Nigeria is bound by a knowledge-driven exam culture that purely focuses on cramming and passing exams. And so international education is very much about giving children the skills to think, to reason. It's about giving them an experience that enables them to become something different. And it's not just about where they go. And then you think about outcomes, which are about university access, career mobility, local and global networks. And when we look particularly in Nigeria, strangely, and 100%, we talk about A's all the time. But actually, Nigerian business is not driven by exams, is not driven by university degrees, it's driven by relationships. So it kind of does a flip. It's important to go to university. I think it's very often less important which one. It's important who you know, who you've been to school with, and who your network is. And being able to fit into different networks, to be able to think outside. This is a land of innovation, of entrepreneurship. And if you can step outside of that box, you've got it made.
Thank you. So looking beyond grades. Okay, so and you also talked about positioning a child being able to think outside the box. Okay, so Mr. William, how can families, a lot of times when you talk about international education, the first thing that families think about is the tuition. Oh, can we afford it? Oh, what's the tuition like? They're checking what's the tuition like. So how can we access this without beyond thinking about tuition? How can families think beyond tuition and plan holistically for opportunity acquisition?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's an important question, I know, for lots of the families that you work with. I think, I suppose, as a headline, what I would say is that it's really important to think not in terms of institutions or individuals or specific opportunities, but in terms of ecosystems. And that means thinking about networking. It means thinking about experiences. It means thinking about leveraging opportunities that allow for the academic and the co-curricular and the extracurricular to intersect. So I think it's really important that families think about investing in experiences. That might be summer schools, it might be competitions, it might be internships, it might be industry links and partnerships, but also invest in skills, communication skills, digital skills, leadership. And actually, to pick up on some of the points that we've already discussed, we know that actually the capabilities that are going to give our pupils a competitive edge in today's world are things like resilience and adaptability, initiative and independence, collaboration, communication across cultures, as we've already touched on. As teachers, it's our responsibility to make sure that what we're doing is not just presenting knowledge for the sake of examinable curriculum outcomes. We need to be helping our pupils to think in an adaptive way, to manipulate that knowledge, to prioritize and hierarchize their ideas. And to come back to your question about how families think beyond tuition and plan for opportunity, I think encouraging their children to sort of build their portfolios around those skills and talents, not just around grade profiles, is really, really important. We're used to thinking perhaps in quite a short-term way about our children's outcomes. What's going to happen at the end of this year, what's going to happen in 2 years' time, what university do they need to go to. As has just been said, actually we should be thinking more about what is the long-term trajectory, what do all of these skills and experiences build to in the long run. And that's why schools like mine at Caterham, yeah, of course, we are interested in setting up our pupils for academic success. That remains important. That's the passport, the key to the next stage, whether that's a fantastic university or a wonderful internship. But just as importantly, we need to think of our schools as platforms for accumulating opportunity, responsibility, and ensuring that actually what we offer our pupils is strong co-curricular and innovation pathways where they can bring to the table their own ideas, their own interests, their own talents, and build and create opportunities for themselves, rather than fitting within the molds or the structures that the system as we currently work in offers.
Thank you. And Mrs. Polusha, would you like to speak to it as well? How can families think beyond tuition?
So, I'm really enjoying this conversation because I think that everything is really resonating and, it's just so true. There's a lot of things that the other panelists have said that are just so spot on. I love the fact that William just ended with talking about how we have to build our children's portfolio around their skills and their talents. We just have to get away from this academic only mindsets. John made such a good point. He said it's interesting because in Nigeria, networks are important. The people that are important when you're building businesses. Alo and I know each other from secondary school. We went to the same secondary school. That is why I know her. That's why I'm here today. But then we fixate so much on grades. So we have to have like a national paradigm shift when it comes to how we're educating our children. There's so many children that I have met who have amazing talents, some of which their parents have actually used as pathways to global access, where they are paying less tuition, because they focused on building their talents. I can give you a very quick example. A few days ago, I was with one of the ladies that I sit on a board with, and she was telling me that her daughter has been playing piano since she was about 3 years old. Her daughter is now 13. And she said that they didn't even realize, as they were building on that talent, that it was actually going to potentially give her access to, scholarships or discounts with schools. And she's applied to a secondary school in the UK, and she got a scholarship because of this talent that they've been building. And I have so many stories like that. So I really believe that for parents, we need to start looking at what are the unique things that my child has? How do I build around that? It doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be sports. It can be so many other things. And we have to give them experiential learning. Let your children go for internships. Let them volunteer at homes. In Nigeria, we have a lot of places that your children can volunteer in. Let them go there, let them see other children that are not like them. Let them use some of their own skills, some of their own exposure, some of their own gifts to teach those children. And so for me, it's really about you just being intentional about not only focusing on academics. Whether you like it or not, the way that the country, is structured and the educational system is structured, academics are going to happen anyway. So what are you going to add to the table if you are in a school, as an example, that doesn't, focus on co-curricular, extracurricular, which is something that we also should not be doing. We should be looking for schools that give our children the full experience and not just academics. Also, because of technology, academics are no longer going to be as exciting because machines can do the things that are simple to do. Simple tasks and simple routine things can be done by machines. What is your child going to have that makes them stand out in a world where machines are running things? I think that's the question that we should be asking ourselves. Thank you.
Amazing. I'm just loving this conversation.
So,
Parents, I
Silver,
hope you're putting down these points that have been flying since this conversation started. So Mrs. Volution mentioned something about global talent. So Mr. John Todd,
sorry,
I would
can
like
you
to
hear me?
ask. Oh,
Can you
okay.
hear me,
All
Binta?
right. Please
Yes,
do.
sorry. Yes, I know. I'm a semi-panelist of sorts. So one of the things that Felicia did not mention that I think should be on her profile is that she's the mother of the child who featured in the first Nigerian Walt Disney production called Iwaju. Her
Oh,
daughter
wow.
is literally the voice, right? It's her name in Iwaju is Timmy.
Tola. Her name is
Yeah,
Tola Iniwaju. Yes. And she
yes,
was the lead actress, and she's won some amazing global awards. She was nominated for an Emmy and so on and so forth.
yes.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
an Emmy, and Amy, and Emmy. For me, this is success on so many levels. She is also very academically intelligent. And when we think about academics, it's discipline, it's disciplining your mind. John was talking about ways of thinking, right? And it's to transfer that into more than getting the grades, getting the top scores in your exams. That's what this is really about. And I love, just like Felicia referenced what John said about Nigerian businesses thrive on relationships. This is what wealthy families teach their children. So can we start having some of those conversations within the schools, within our school systems? Because it's all about the environment. A young mind is like a seed, and you want to plant that seed in the right environment. Make sure it is well nurtured, well watered, well, so that more can emerge and they blossom beautifully. One of the things they do at Williams School, Caterham School, is they have an edtech business. Again, I think they have William, you can tell us all about this edtech business that Caterham does. And I think that was so amazing. Actually bringing entrepreneurship into the schools as early on as possible. You'll be amazed. My children understand money on levels that I never even thought about at their age. So they want to be, engaged beyond the traditional subject. And this is what deepens our participation on a global stage. So I just wanted to add that bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so back to Mr. John Todd. Yes, Mrs. Felicia mentioned something about global talent. So I want to ask, what specific capabilities give students a competitive edge in accessing and leveraging global opportunities today? Please unmute.
You're on mute.
To me, it's got to be about being able to think and compete with everybody else. And I think the challenge for so many Nigerian schools is that the academic knowledge-driven exams don't really allow that to happen. So all they have to do is answer questions that they've been told, this whole idea of filling empty vessels. And the school system in so many ways hasn't moved beyond that. And so as soon as you start looking at international programs, IGCSE, GCSE, A-level IB, whatever it is, you are going into things like critical thinking. How do I take disparate pieces of information and pull them together? How do I take a skill learned in one thing and use it somewhere else? It would be wonderful if that was a very easy thing to do. We know just because they can do one thing in maths doesn't mean they can apply that in geography. If only that were true, it would make our lives very easy in schools. I think it's also beyond the academics. It's about relationships and communication. And so when children are presenting an assembly, I'll talk to parents about preparing them for a job interview or a board presentation, because yes, we do exams, but the reality is life isn't about exams. It's about projects. It's about presentations. It's about persuading someone towards your point of view. It's about conflict resolution. It's about human skills. And so I think a great strength for us, and also probably William will agree here, boarding as an opportunity for students, having to live together in the same space with other students, it forces you to build relationships. And many of those relationships last for a lifetime. It forces you to adapt to other people. It forces you to find a way to resolve a conflict beyond violence, beyond shouting. Sadly, not always beyond violence, but we get there over time. It gives you an insight into how other people live and work and function. And that as a skill, you almost can't teach it. You've got to live it. And we're back to this idea of experiential learning. It's just such a great opportunity for children to understand that life is about more than just them. It's about living and working with other people. And, you know, none of these are on the exam syllabus.
Amazing, amazing. Life is not about projects. It's not about, life is not about examination. It's about projects, presentation, conflicts resolution, and so on. Amazing, amazing points there. Okay, so Mr. William, what are the top 3 strategic actions that consistently unlock international opportunities in education, regardless of background?
Another great question. The $1 million question, I know, for some parents and families. I think, picking only 3 or reducing it to 3 core ideas is tricky. But here are my thoughts. I think most or initially, the first step is to make sure that we are building a strong skills foundation. Skills in partnership with knowledge. We've talked a little bit about that tension, which doesn't have to be a tension really, but that relationship already. We talked about the kind of skills that we might be touching on there: communication, problem solving, digital literacy, resilience, adaptability, and so on. But we can't move forward as individuals within our local or global contexts without a strong skills basis. I think we have to acknowledge that. And it's our job as educators, as we've already said, to help pupils get there, and to help people's experience, just as John's been saying there in the context of boarding, for example, to help experience the world in an authentic way and solve their own problems and come to conclusions about themselves and learn from their own actions and abilities. So building our skills portfolio is really important. I think actively then seeking and creating experiences to deploy and practice and enhance and refine those skills is then a critical step. I referenced in my previous answer briefly things like accessing competitions and projects and collaborations and industry partnerships and so on. Because skills without application, just like knowledge without skills, makes the whole process to a degree redundant, right? These things exist to be used, to be deployed. And then just as importantly, and it's I suppose one of the reasons why we're here today all talking is developing meaningful networks in which we can practice and deploy those skills and those experiences. So we're talking here about mentorship or coaching opportunities. We're talking about working collaboratively with our peers. We're talking about implementing those skills and ideas within our local and our global communities. We here at school, that we had reference a moment ago to our what we call our EDGE course, which is a curricular program that sits alongside our academic subjects, and then things like well-being, which it's project-based, it's interdisciplinary, it's about pupils developing and enhancing and refining their skills. The key takeaway from that is that we want our pupils not just to participate, not just to be passive vessels to be filled with knowledge, to sort of take on that metaphor, but we want pupils to be initiating opportunities, initiating partnerships, initiating collaboration, and we hope that by teaching them, by coaching them, by sitting alongside them, by helping them, we'll be giving them the space to develop as individuals and the opportunities to build those skills, to seek those experiences, and to develop those meaningful networks. I think those three things working in tandem is probably my instinctive response to that question.
Thank you so much. So at what stage should parents begin to position their children for global pathways, and what should that preparation look like? Mr. John Todd, would you speak to that?
Yep, remembering to unmute this time. I think the danger very often is people suddenly think, oh, it's year 10 or it's year 12. Let's start thinking about the future. And I've been writing this in my blog recently. And to me, it actually starts with habits from very, very early on. And I think the biggest impact in education in reality is in early years. The habits they form in early years education are probably the ones that will guide them through. So start thinking very early. And this isn't, oh, I want my child to go to Harvard, I want my child to go to Oxford. No, I would never start with that. But start thinking about what are the type of skills that they need, as you know, as William said. What do they need to be good at? And some very basic things in primary school, like developing a reading culture. It's so important. Making sure they're exposed to different opportunities and activities. And it's, you know, we talk a lot in education about finding your passion. It's not a phrase I hugely like, but giving your children lots of different experiences. Because it's very hard to find it if you haven't been given choices in lots of different areas. So give them as many opportunities as you can to do different things. And just go with it. They'll come back with some really weird and wonderful stuff. But if that's what they love, why not? Hence, my youngest daughter is, I think, chairman of the fish tank club at school in the UK. And why not? I was also into fish at one point. But what independent schools do so well is allow children to follow their interests, to do something different, to take leadership. But underneath that, start thinking about habits. So I talked about reading, but think about independence, think about discipline. And I don't mean that in a physical way, but how good are they at doing their homework? How good are they actually getting things done? Do they do chores and things like that? Do they think about money, or is it just something they throw around? How can you develop skills so that when they get to university and this safety net is no longer there, can they use a washing machine? Do they know how to plan a budget? Do they know how to pack their bag when the maid, the gardener, the cook, and all those things that our children here, mine as expatriate kids had as well, can they do something beyond boil a kettle? And I'm shocked sometimes children get into the sixth form, they can't make themselves a meal because all these things have been done for them through their whole life. So think about good habits, think about breadth, and then as we go through school, things start to narrow down, they start to specialize, they start to know a little bit more about what they like, and then you can focus on thinking about, well, where do you want to go? What might you want to do? Many still don't know, but at least they have got some ideas, and underneath they've got really strong work and study habits that will carry them forward into that next stage.
Amazing. So, Mrs. Badamosi, John Todd said, starting to position your children for global pathways should start in the child's early age. Do you agree with that? Are you in that school of thought as well? And then I want you to tell us how parents can integrate entrepreneurial and experiential learning into a student's journey early on.
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree with him. I was nodding my head vigorously. Hopefully my camera wasn't frozen, so you could see me doing that. I mean, we just have to start early. When he said, don't wait till, year 10 or year 12, I was like this because I've been speaking to a lot of parents with children in those years who have waited till the last minute. And now, because, applying to schools has become very competitive all over the world, because the world has now become a global village. They are struggling because their children have great grades. They have all A's, but that's it, All you have are your academic grades, but what else do you have going on? So I totally agree that we need to start early and we have to be intentional. I really, truly believe, and I know that every child has something. It's a matter of you taking the time out, like he said, to try out different things, figure out what that thing is, and deepen knowledge in that thing for the child. Let your children take leadership, let them take ownership. Just to go to your second question, listen, for experimenting, experiential learning, all of those things, there's no other way than to just throw your children out there. Do you understand? We have to stop doing everything for our children. He said a sixth former who cannot make a basic meal. That is a problem. That is not okay. That is absolutely not okay. It's not okay, if your children at a certain age cannot do things that their counterparts in other countries can because you have domestic staff. If you need to reduce the domestic staff that you have, please do so because your children have to learn to do these things. You know what I mean? Anyway, back to the experiential learning thing now that I've gotten that off my chest because I'm very passionate about it. Like I said earlier, let your children intern, let them walk. Let these children go and walk. You people have the networks, you have the friends, you have the people that have businesses. Let them go for 2-week, break. Let them go and see what it means to go to an office every day, get there at 9 o'clock, stay there till 5. Even if it's that they're helping people make their coffee or their tea, it's okay. Let them go and work. Let your children volunteer. Many of us have access to many things that many children in Nigeria need. I do a lot of work with lower income schools. There are so many things that our children can do at those schools, even if it is to do a book drive with their friends, gather books that people are no longer reading, go and donate it to the school, go and read a book to the school. I'll give you another example. So last week, a friend of mine whose daughter is in high school in the US, but is currently on spring break, called me and said her daughter is looking for something to do, over like the 2-week break, which I thought was even great. It's commendable. So I co-founded an organization with 2 other ladies about 11 years ago, and we have a center in Shomolu, and we have computers. It's a digital center, in quotes. So we teach them everything, to do with coding and things like that. And she went in and taught the children about AI. And she sent me videos and pictures, and it was so beautiful. And she told me, she said, I was very nervous before I started because, primary school students can be difficult. You don't know if they like you, if they don't like you, if they understand what you're saying or not. But she did a fantastic job, and her confidence has been built up. And she sent me a message. I was like, thank you so much for, having me go there. These are all the things I did. She was there for 3 days. She told me that she even made her mom, supply them with snacks and things. The point I'm making is that there's so many things that we can be doing. And as parents, we cannot outsource everything to the school. I commend Mr. Todd and Mr. Law and every single person that runs a school, because I really think that we have gotten very lazy as parents. We want the school to do everything. The school cannot do everything. If the school is doing great things and you're not reinforcing it in your home, it's a problem. If the school is giving your children maybe experiences that, have to do with them doing things with their hands and actually being more active outside of academics, and when your children get home, all they do is throw their shoes here, they don't know how to wash plates, they don't know how to boil water, then what are you doing? You're not reinforcing that, So for me, we just have to stop these things, and we need to be very intentional about bringing up global citizens that can thrive anywhere in the world, not only in places where there's nanny, driver, and cook. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Time is fast spent. I said it that we have so much to talk about, but just very little time. But just before we go, I want to ask this final question, and this question goes to Mr. Law. So how can parents evaluate whether an opportunity is truly valuable versus simply prestigious?
It's another great question. I think obviously value and prestige can coexist, right? And what we're looking to find ideally is opportunities that are prestigious and valuable. I think the key word here is activity or activeness. Parents and pupils should be asking themselves when they're evaluating the opportunities available to them, the pathways available to them, what skills will this opportunity develop? What networks will this unlock? And also, perhaps the most important of these 3 questions, what evidence of growth will remain? Is this an opportunity with a long-term, a medium or a long-term outcome? How is this helping me to grow as an individual, as a learner, as a historian, as a mathematician, as a musician, whatever it might be? I think that the red flags or the warning signs for sort of prestige only opportunities without inherent value are passivity. So where you don't have to involve yourself actively, where your ideas don't drive outcomes, where what you bring to the table doesn't matter, where the outcome is independent of what you yourself bring. And also where there are no or few measurable outcomes, because of course what we're all looking for is to develop ourselves as individuals, as learners, as professionals, and so on. And therefore it stands to reason that conversely high value opportunities are marked out by, are defined by the fact that they are active, the fact that they are selective, the fact that they're outcome driven. They're things that I can attach to or relate to, specific things that I want to do, that I want to develop in my own life, or that I want my children, for example, to develop. And I suppose to summarize or fundamentally then, it comes down to opportunities that provide depth of engagement. Engagement in all sorts of senses, engagement in terms of variety, engagement in terms of activity, engagement in terms of breadth of opportunity, rather than just sort of superficial accolades, pin badges, prizes, accolades that are superficial. what we want to always establish or evaluate is what are we learning from an opportunity? What are we taking forward? What is the next step? What is the narrative here? We're looking for opportunities that fit into, that help us develop this narrative for ourselves.
Wow. So we need to check out for opportunities that give us depth of engagement. It's been a very wonderful discussion. I wish we could go on, but time is not our friend. So parents, there you go. There you have it. We've heard from all three of our amazing speakers. We've learned so much. They have dropped so many points. Now it is your time to ask questions. So all those questions you have, please begin to drop them as they are still here to answer your questions. But just before we start taking the questions, Dr. Arlo, I want you to speak to one or two of these questions we have asked so far, or speak to this discussion.
Honestly, like, as I said earlier, I've been at the edge of my seat because a number of things have been said. And I know we have to go now, but I feel like we're just getting warmed up for this conversation. I'm so glad it's on YouTube and we're going to be putting out snippets out there for our parents. So I see that a lot of parents actually do not know where to start from. You'll be amazed. A number of our parents are so busy they haven't actually gotten the time to sit down and to really do an audit because they're hearing these things. They've been focused on, my child is in a great school. I mean, it's a good school. And what is that measure of a good school? Oh, this school, this person attends that school, or this person's child attended that school. Everyone talks about this school, this, that, and the other. Okay, they've focused their attention on the children attending a good school and getting good grades. But beyond that, oh, my child plays this instrument, my child plays this sport. That's about it. But that intrinsic interest. I loved when John talked about his youngest daughter leading the fish tank society. I think that is phenomenal because that's intrinsic to her as a person. That's her strength. Felicia is a strengths coach. That is what she uniquely enjoys, and bringing that out of your child really requires a lot of observation, a lot of intentionality, a lot of attention. The good news, however, is that we can help with that at Brains and Butter. We actually literally go through an educational profiling of your child. So we recognize that the school matters because there are schools out there that know that they are busy parents. We've got expatriate parents. For them to be able to afford this phenomenal education, the truth of the matter is they are busy, and we need to recognize that. At the same time, do not be too busy to not pay attention to what really matters. If you have to take 2 weeks off, shut it down and pay attention to your children. It is very, very important. Do not be too busy for them. I'm just saying that we recognize that happens, and sometimes there are gaps. The final thing I'll say to this is really, as the schools where parents register whilst they're still expecting their children, they have to register because the nurseries are feeder nurseries into top prep schools. So they register their children really early on. So it's never too early to start. And to be encouraged, if you're not paying attention to your child enough and you just left things to chance, it's not too late to start. But the key thing is you start early and you plan. Because education is an investment. Education is expensive. Quality education is expensive. You have to plan for it. You have to prepare for it. So the earlier you start the process, the better. Thank you, Da Silva.
Thank you so much. Very well said. So parents, you're free to ask your questions. If you want to ask a question live, just indicate by a show of hand and we would allow you to ask the question live. But if not, you can drop it in the chat and we would ask, okay, we have one question. In your experience, what is the biggest mindset shift students should mindset shift students and parents need to make today a truly access today to truly access global opportunities beyond just academic opportunities. So the question is, what is the biggest mindset shift students and parents need to make? So who would like to take the question? Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Law.
I'm happy to speak to this. I think there's a couple of things that come to mind straight away. These are inevitably things that in the sense we've already, or some of which we've already spoken to. I think a couple of important things to pull out. So we've talked already about shifting from thinking about success as a linear thing to thinking in terms of portfolios. So the old model that we might be used to, you get the grades, you go to university, you do the career that you want to do, still exists, but is increasingly being replaced by or substituted by the importance of developing a portfolio of skills and experience and evidence. We've talked about creating opportunities rather than consuming them, and with that comes an onus on pupils to initiate and lead impactful experiences and opportunities rather than just wait for them to let them happen to them. Global opportunities, as we know, increasingly favour pupils who are self-starters, pupils who are builders, pupils who are collaborators. And then I suppose the other thing I want to draw out is the shift from knowledge acquisition to capability development. Knowledge is now abundant. We could have a whole different discussion, a whole different debate about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, AI and digital access and so on. But what that means is that increasingly scarce, but therefore all the more valuable for it, are things like critical thinking and creativity and adaptability. So future-ready, innovation-driven learners are the kind of learners, pupils who are going to be successful in this world that increasingly demands capability and skill. We can't ignore the fact that we should be thinking increasingly long-term. We've spoken to that already this morning. And we should be thinking about engaging with challenge and productive challenge rather than just sort of protecting ourselves. Growth, we know, comes from iteration and from discomfort and from failure. And that's really important to acknowledge. So pupils need space to take risks, to explore avenues, to reach a dead end, and so valuing resilience and the process as much as the results and the outcomes, I think is a really crucial thing. And those are all to a degree mindset shifts that I think are important at the moment.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we cannot take more questions as our time is already fast spent. I want to say a very big thank you to all our panelists for taking time out to be a part of this event today, to be a part of this webinar. We're most grateful. Thank you. Like I said, parents, it's just the beginning of the celebration. And in the spirit of celebration, we have amazing, juicy discounts for parents, especially the ones that are on this call today. So if you're on the call today, there's going to be a form in the chat. Get on that form and fill it quickly, because if you're on the call today, you are eligible for a free consultation with 15 minutes free consultation with the lead consultant. If you're on the call today, that consultation should have been paid for, but because you're on the call today, you'd have 15 minutes free. And then the discounts also runs all through the 7-month celebration, but it's not going to be absolutely free if you're not on the call today, and it's going to be discounted. So you still have a discount, even if you're not able to make your intentions known today. But the discount and the free consultation is for just the first 10 people to indicate interest. After the 10th person, you're going to have your consultation with any of the other associates. So it is in the spirit of celebration. Okay. And There's still going to be more programs coming up in the spirit of the 10th year anniversary celebration. We want to say a big thank you to all our clients and customers who have stayed loyal. We say thank you to our intending customers as well, and we look forward to doing business with you. So please get into the chat and fill the forms. Brains and Butter also has a WhatsApp community. So we would like you to be a part of the WhatsApp community as well. And we would also want you to be on our mailing list so that you'll be the first to hear about any activities and initiative of Brains and Butter. I want to say congratulations once more to Brains and Butter and her team on this decade of excellence. It's been an amazing journey, I must say. So on this note, would like to draw a curtain on today's presentation. The celebration continues, like I said. Brains and Butter team would keep reaching out to you so that to keep you abreast with the other events in the celebration. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. It's been so nice spending the morning with you. And we want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining.
Brains and Butter is an educational consultancy firm that seeks to ensure families find the school that is right for their child or for their children. We also help with undergraduate and postgraduate admissions as well. Our area of specialty is in British boarding schools and British universities. I'm a product of the British university system and I'm grateful for that. We provide 4 services. The first is our school search and selection, where we scan the length and breadth of the United Kingdom, following ongoing consultations with yourself, with your family, getting to know you, getting to know your child, getting to know your child's profile, your child's interest, and gathering as much information as we can about your child. And we know those schools where your child will thrive in. We understand your needs. We pay attention to the details that matter to you. And we help you select the top schools that are suitable for your child. Secondly is our school placement service, where we literally do all the heavy lifting for you. So all you have to do is focus on ensuring you have a great application if you're a university applicant, or focus on getting your child ready for the assessment for British boarding school, for the interview, even for that scholarship. We prepare your child for that as well. The third thing we do is guardianship. We provide guardianship services. We in fact started out as a guardianship organization where we wanted to make sure that families who live in Nigeria mainly and have their children studying in the United Kingdom can have that peace of mind knowing that there's someone here who's keeping an eye out for their children. And there's something so special about our guardianship services. It's the mentoring we provide. So we don't just look after their well-being or look out for their welfare. We make sure that they're emotionally stable, that they are thriving, that they are happy, that they are progressing well academically, because when a young person is supported, it makes a tremendous difference in their performance. So our guardianship services are truly special. The fourth service we provide is tutoring. We have a vast array of tried and tested tutors who are there to support you, support your child, get them ready for the assessments, get them ready for the exams, and make sure your child is given as much support as he or she needs to do the best, to perform the best academically. Our goal is to make sure that your child blossoms. Our vision is to be the most child-focused British boarding school placement
consultancy. We look forward to serving you and getting your child that British boarding school that is right for him or her, as well as helping you find that course in that great university for you.